You may speak now.
Okay. Okay. We're going to have a discussion of a flower presentation of photography, and it will give you some tools and techniques for flower photography. In this discussion, some of the ways to take your flower photography to the next level. We will talk about the anatomy of flowers, the goals that we should think about before shooting flowers, which cameras, suggested camera settings, and what lenses to use, and the importance of light in flower photography. Okay, now this is the anatomy of a flower, and on the left hand side of the slide, you see the flower, but it's the anatomy of the flower and the different parts of the flower. I think in my case, I usually try to take pictures of the petal, which is the large part of the flower, and then the other elements of the flower I'm not going to get into because I'm not a botanist. So it's just gives you an idea of what the flower anatomy of each flower that you take pictures of. Next slide. Okay, the camera settings. Okay, you want to maximize your attention to your subject, depth of field, aperture priority, moving closer, watch for the visual distractions in the background and along the four edges, selective focus. I remember when Robin was teaching this, and she was saying how to frame your picture. And I think this goes along with that, how to frame your picture, make sure there's no visual distractions in the background along the edges. And you want to combat the movement, because from wind and camera movement. Increase the shutter speed, maybe the ISO 2. Use a tripod, brace or lean against something, and block the wind with something. Now this block the wind with something that Mrs. Myers said, I got from Mrs. Myers, that with all her equipment that she uses that are everyday items that you can use. So next slide. Okay, the gear, the camera, point and shoot, DSLR, mirrorless, cell phone, it doesn't matter. The best camera to use is the one you have with you. Okay. The lenses, normal lens, 45 to 85 millimeters, telephoto lens, 100 plus, and macro, 50 to 200 plus. And as you see a hint on the left-hand side of your screen at the left-hand corner, know how close your camera will focus, the minimum focus distance. Okay. Lenses, the advantage of macro lenses, focus closer to the subject. You have more aperture settings to increase depth of field, f22 plus. And typically this is the sharpest lens for macro, for doing flowers. Okay. Okay, gear, extension tubes and close-up filters. Extension tubes and close-up filters are low-cost ways to allow closer focus while increasing the image magnification. Close-up filters mount to the filtering of the lens. Various extension tubes include mounts to reverse the lens, mount the front of the lens to the body. They do not impact exposure. Okay. Now this is the gear bellows. When Doug and I were doing this presentation, we were going over it. We said this slide especially for Kevin, but he's not here. So, and it's the gear bellows. Okay, an accordion-like device usually mounted on a precision racking system. They adjust the lens forward or backwards for precise focusing and increased magnification. Typically this requires a tripod, and I think that's quite obvious. You can't move the bellows and then also try to take the photograph. Okay. Impact the light. there are three directions of light: front, side, and back. There's hard and soft, intensity, color reflectivity, exposure compensation, control of light, light modifiers, off-camera lights, reflectors of cards, and specialty reflectors. I found that the importance of light. I found that you could change actually a color of a flower by using what we went over about the cards. You can use a different color card and change the total as reflection of the flower. You can change the color of the flower in your image. Okay, next one. And direction of light this is importance of light. Okay, minimize shadows, enhance colors, separate from the background, and emphasize texture. And in the back, soft lighting, rim lighting. And this slide, you'll see that the three different ways of lighting your subject. Your front, you see the front, you see the side, and then you see the backlight. The farther from the light is from the axis of the camera, the more shadows are on the subject. So that should keep that in mind when you're lighting your subject. Okay. Now this is the importance of light. On the left-hand side, you see I took this picture and it's really harsh. You can see how harsh it is. But on the right, you see it's a much softer focus, and it's more eye-pleasing than the one on the left. Mm-hmm. Okay, importance of light. Okay, know your subject. You know, if yellow, orange flowers will reflect light, so you be prepared to correct the exposure using exposure compensation. That will help it. And on the right, you see the color reflectivity, and you see the wavelengths of how flowers reflect light, different colors. This doesn't have to be flowers, but just colors in general. And I didn't understand this too much, but I went back and looked at Mrs. Meyer's lecture on color, and it really helped me out, Mrs. Myers.
Good.
Okay, next slide. Importance of light, like you have light modifiers, you'll have off-camera flash, your fabric cards, or specialty reflectors. And this is what I was talking about earlier. You can actually change the color of a flower by using a different reflector, not just the white, but you can use a different reflector, and it will change the color of your flower. Okay, next slide. Now this flower, I was walking into my neighborhood and I saw this flower just sticking out that somebody had butchered the rose bush, and this is the only thing that was left. And I saw it and I thought it was how very neat and how it stood out. So I captured the image. Okay, next presentation, next one. This here is what I was walking by, and just the background is out of focus, and it's a stump of a tree and this flower was growing out of it, and it just stood out, and I thought it was very interesting. Mm-hmm. This flower, I'd taken this picture at the Fullerton Arboretum, and I was walking just as you pass the waterfalls on the right-hand side. These roses was there, and I thought that it was very nice that I could take this photograph and this image. Okay.
It is a nice one.
Yeah, beautiful, stunning image.
This is Mrs. Myers. I took your advice about spritzing the flowers, and you can see there's water on it, and the petals. So I thought it was something captured that all the different colors were really stood out. Okay, the
Good.
next
I
slide.
like it.
This was also at the Fullerton Arboretum. I was I don't know if out in the field there up. I think it's
Yeah, Anthony, that's actually mine.
that's yours. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
This was obviously our state flower, our California poppy, and this is outside of the nature center. I'm going to kind of chime in here for a minute, and Anthony showed us the third slide in, which was titled "The Goals of Flower Photography," and he's mentioning aperture priority, which gives us the depth of field, moving in closer, scan your four edges of the image, looking for anything that might distract, pull the attention of the viewer away from the image. And finally, selective focus. Now, these, in many cases, for many of us, are just terms of photography. I would argue, or I would enhance the thought that when we as photographer transition from just knowing the terms of photography to making them the tools of photography that we regularly use to enhance our images, we will take our images to a higher level. This obviously is an image of the same species of flower, the California poppy, but it's, I think, taken in such a way that it makes it a little better or more of an outstanding image than this one is.
100% agree.
We have a lot of tools there, obviously depth of field, very narrow, we're blurring the background, selective focus. This poppy is in focus where the front is out of focus, and again, the back is focused. Selective focus tool. So when we use those tools on a regular basis, virtually every time we go out to take pictures, we keep the tools in our toolbox to use. We'll step up our images every time.
Mhm.
Here we have a peach blossom over at the Nature Center. As Anthony was talking about, some of the stamen part or the anatomy of the flower, the stamens stick out. In many cases, when we take a picture of a flower, these are pretty important, and we want to kind of get those in there, and we want to make sure it's in within the depth of field. But again, we start to taper the background out. One of the things that we can also do is where our camera perspective is. In this case, we're almost eye level, if you will, with the flower. We could have come straight down from the top and get a different perspective, or straight from the side, or even, as we will see in a few minutes, from the bottom. This was taken with my standard DSLR camera, but we obviously use the camera we have with us, and here's a cell phone image. We still get the anatomy of the flower coming out. So don't worry that you only have a cell phone. The cell phones take great pictures as well. We blur the background. Anthony made the comment about knowing what the minimum focus distance of the camera you're using, or the lens on that camera. What we're trying to do is when we want to get closer to the image to kind of narrow the down and blur the background out, each camera, each lens, the phones, you can only go in so far and the camera can no longer focus any closer. So if we're at that stage where the camera does not focus any further and we're inside the range of where it does, our images will be blurry. But if we know where that minimum distance is, let's say it's 2 foot, as long as we stay 2 foot or further away, our image should be able to focus in sharp. Poinsettias, obviously we're coming up to the holiday. There's a saying in photography that when you think you're in close enough, get in closer. When you think you're in close enough, get in closer. Now we can continue to take this magnification and more, and what will happen is we'll kind of get away from a photograph and get into almost a piece of creative art. This is a passion flower. It grows fruit. This happened to be growing over at the Nature Center. It's an invasive plant. It does tend to push other plants away, but you can very clearly see the various components of the elements of the anatomy. Again, I'm taking this image almost at eye level. I'm taking it slightly in an angle, getting one perspective. But at the same time, while we're there, let's take it from different angles and get a different perspective with our images.
Yeah.
Don't just take one.
No. Take off.
Now, this is an example, Mrs. Myers, when she brought us up to speed and taught us about using the water spritzer to enhance our images. She mentioned in that same presentation about getting below the flower, or the back of the flower. And that's what this is representing. You'll notice we've got some parts of the flower anatomy that the backlighting is creating a shadow on the petals. We have from the back, we're getting the original outside covering petals and then the stem. The backlighting is creating that glow that you see there. So as Amy mentioned, shooting the flowers from the back perspective, low perspective, also creates a very interesting image. This image I took over at the Patient Gardens on one of our field trips. The point I've put here, or why I have it here, is look for the unexpected. You don't normally expect to see the petal of the flower broken off from where it was, laying on a leaf. Now, what was interesting is when we showed our photographs the following Friday, Alan saw the potential in this image because he took almost the exact same image. Now, one of the things we want to try and be aware of, again, we're talking about our depth of field and focus. Even though we may not have enough depth of field to cover the full flower from front to back, our images will look better that if at least the front elements of the flower are in focus and maybe the center point, and if the backside tapers away as far as sharpness, that's okay. So try and at least get the front element in and work your way back. Also expect the unexpected. Obviously, flowers are going to attract bees, they're going to attract bugs. In many cases, when I'm taking the picture or when we are taking the picture, we may not notice that bug when we take the image, but when we bring it back into Lightroom or whatever software we use to do our editing, we all of a sudden up pops that little critter and say, hey, that's a pretty good, interesting look. Now, this happens to be, again, our state flower, the California poppy, and this is just emerging from its outer shell. And as it opens up further and further, this thing just gets pushed off and falls to the ground. So again, expect the unexpected, look for the unexpected if you can see that bug, and work it into your photograph when you're doing your composition. Now, every image we have seen so far has been created in natural light. This is an example of using natural light in conjunction with a light modifier. We saw in the earlier slide that some of the light modifiers are off-camera flash. You can use cards. In this particular case, I added, this water was actually added by Mother Nature. It's a dewy morning. This flower's in our backyard. Here is the setup I used to take this picture. I have my humble assistant over here holding a black background so that I don't get the wall and the back door on the patio in the image of the flower. I have a little small LED light right here, right next to the flower, and that's creating the artificial light, or the light augmentation, if you will. And then here's obviously the image. Here's a similar image. You notice there's no water on this one. This was taken a few days later of a different flower. But I included this one when Anthony was talking about light reflectivity coming off of the flower. The yellows and the oranges and the blue petals or blue segments of a flower tend to reflect more light back to the camera than the reds and the greens do. And sometimes when we see our images in Lightroom or whatever program we use to view our photos, we might get a slight underexposure because we have more light reflecting out. So that exposure compensation that Anthony talked about earlier is where we might have to make a slight adjustment to our exposure based on the reflectivity of the light. Now, in this particular case, because of the higher reflectivity of the red, the blues, and the yellows and the oranges, it's prime for a black and white image. Yes, you can take flower pictures in black and white. And one of the things that make black and white photography stand out is the contrast. The stronger the contrast, higher the contrast is termed, usually the more striking your black and white image will be. So that's what I put, why I included this image in my part of the discussion. Anthony, if you're still there.
Yes, sir, here.
Finish this up.
Okay, we are finishing up, wrapping things up. Remember what Doug had said that depth of field and aperture priority. You move in closer, watch the visual distractions in the background along four edges when you're composing your image, and then you select a focus. You can combat movement by increase the shutter speed, maybe the ISO also, and use a tripod. Brace or lean against something, or use something to block the wind or a light modifier. Create several images from different perspectives, as Doug was saying. Don't just take one picture, take several from different angles. And you can use different apertures.
All right, we're pretty well done. Any comments or questions or whatever?
Very nice.
What a nice, simple, straightforward lecture. I love it. I really feel inspired to go out and start shooting flowers again. Really nice, really nice.
What's the difference when you're using tripod versus handheld? If you're in the field or very much like you, Doug, when you shot that flower in your backyard, were you on a tripod or was that handheld?
No, that was on a tripod. Let me open it up here.
Excellent
You
presentation.
can just
Dan.
barely see the tripod here in this image. And I've got a telephoto lens. Anthony talked about the various lenses that you could use. And with telephoto, you can kind of use that to minimize the background as well as make the foreground a little larger in the image by using a larger lens. But yeah, I'm using a tripod.
Can we talk about the light that you're using, Doug? It's a constant light. It's not a flash. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you said it was an LED?
LED light is called Intra, I-N-T-R-A, torch number 2 is the product name.
Do you get that from a camera store or a hardware store?
I actually got it through Amazon.
Okay.
And
In the
the
photo
noise you-
department?
The noise you hear in the background is me taking it out of its box.
Do you find that in photography equipment?
Let me see if I can actually get this. There we go. There we go.
Oh, that's cute. That's little.
It's rechargeable.
So you think it's like
Oh, cool.
3 inches by 3 inches, perhaps?
Not even that. I just happen to have a ruler. Just have to get it.
I'm
out.
not surprised.
All right, just got to get it to an inch setting. It's actually 1.25 inches by 1.25 inches,
Oh, that little.
and it is quite bright.
Almost like a light that you put on a headgear to
Oh, a
search
headlamp.
things.
A headlamp that would work. It's the same idea.
Oh,
Now, it does have on the bottom the standard 1/4x20 tripod mount.
oh.
Now, this is unfortunately no longer being made. Got 3 settings upward, and now it blinks.
Quick, shoot right at the right time.
But it's, as you can see, it's quite small. They were $35 for 2 of them.
Ooh, that's pretty good. That's
The
very good.
only downside
Yeah.
is that aluminum case will get hot. The
Oh,
longer it's on, the hotter
Okay.
that case gets.
is it easy to turn off without burning yourself?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the
And-
actual button to turn it on and off is a rubberish material.
And it must cool down fast.
Yeah, it's got actually cooling grooves all the way around it.
Okay. Would you do me a favor and just post that on our Photo Warrior page? Even though they don't make it, it would still give us something to go look for on Amazon.
Yeah, they
Um,
actually replaced it with a little larger one, and I think the material doesn't get quite as high.
Oh, well, that's good. You think the price is pretty similar?
I don't know. Originally, I think I was seeing them for $79 a piece. And then as they were, I guess, getting ready to discontinue it is when they started to see them go. Now, I know the same brand, and that is Litra, Litra. They are over at Tuttle's. Eric has them over at Tuttle's.
Okay, that's very cool. I'd like to support them. But again, could you put that on our Photo Warrior page? I think that would be really great.
Yeah. Now,
to
you
have it
could use, DIY, you could use any kind of reflector style, standard conventional light.
Mhm.
You got to kind of watch the color sometime.
Yeah, we
from
know
the
about
light
that.
bulb
Uh-huh.
itself. These are LEDs, so they are white light in about 5,500 Kelvin,
Okay.
5,000 to 5,500.
And don't forget, everybody, you can flag light off. So if it's too broad of a source, you can make a black paper cone or foil cone to start
Yeah, you just
flagging.
got to shield it off with something.
Yeah.
And also, you can put the gel
Hmm.
over top of the light to change the color of the light.
And
If
maybe
you-
some of that kind of clear plastic to diffuse the
Yeah.
light.
That would work too.
Yeah, but look, we got a whole studio in a 2x2 square.
Sure. If
I
you
just need to
happen to
hire an
notice the
assistant named Rose to come stand behind the flower for me.
Uh,
My assistant Robert isn't that keen on flagging flowers.
If you happen to see some of the images that were taken on the Tuttle Club with the flaming pumpkins,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
he
those,
used several of these around with the gel on them to kind of change the
oh,
background color.
that's good. That's good. Do you happen to know what the Tuttle Club is going to be? Isn't it tomorrow night? I think they're starting to
Last night.
advertise. It. Oh, Friday?
Last night,
It was
yeah,
Oh, last night.
last night.
Oh, how was
on
that?
food photography.
food photography.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay.
Interesting topic.
Yep.
What I found interesting about it is everything that you saw there for food photography, you could translate immediately over into flower photography or jewelry photography.
Mhm.
All of the topics that he talked about, the shoot angles, camera up, camera down, camera
Mhm.
side, all of that could very easily transfer over to different styles of photography.
Mhm. Yep, that's true.
I'd like to add something about using telephoto lens for photography. There's and I think some lenses that even aren't telephoto, there's an adjustment for the minimum focus distance. It'll have the standard one from say 10 feet to infinity, and then you can flip a switch and it'll be from 8 inches to 10 feet that it's where it focuses. You can now you got to remember to switch it back, because if you go to take a picture of a bird or something, it's not going to be able to focus on it. But it has my telephoto has this close-up adjustment. So it does make for some very interesting flower photography by using that. Because the minimum focus is 150 millimeters. So
Mhm.
When
Yeah, you're
Anthony
limiting
was-
the focusing range of the lens
Right.
itself when you go through the finder. So it's quicker to come into focus if you're within that range.
Yeah,
when Anthony was taking those pictures, Anthony, were you using cell phone or what camera?
I
were
was
you-
I was using the flower, the one that was at the arboretum. I used a 1.8 full 1.8 lens, and then the rest of them were, I think, two of them were let's see.
Specifically that rose that was standing out by itself after
Oh,
that.
but the rose myself. Oh yeah, that was with a 70, was it 70 millimeter lens.
And that's also using a negative vignette.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And one of the things I like, or I use the negative vignetting, particularly if you run into something in the background or along the edges that could easily distract.
Mhm.
Oftentimes a positive or darken the edges doesn't take it out, but the negative or the lighter version does tend to minimize some of the distractions in the background.
Mhm. We should have a lecture on lenses and what do they mean? What do you think?
Lens?
Different lenses, and give people examples what different lenses can do. You and I started on something like that a long time ago, or maybe we did it. Do you remember, Steve? Did we ever do a lecture on different lenses? Oh, you're muted, Steve. We can't hear you.
no, you can't hear me because I'm muted, but yes, we did that a couple of years ago, and it was kind of off the cuff. We didn't put enough thought into it. I think based on that experience, I think we could do a much better
Yeah.
example.
Good. And what to look for on the information around the bands. It'll tell you the focal length of the lens and the how big the shutter goes, and there's information on lenses and different switches that you can do manual focus. Some of them have, stabilization. So there's been years I looked at those and went, God, I wonder what all that means. Oh, well, stick it on the camera and go.
Maybe what we could do is invite people to come to the gardens with a variety of lenses that they have. And then we'll need a model for them to shoot.
Mhm.
When we did it, Amy was the model. I know most of you would have preferred me, but then we can cover maybe shoot we'll figure out the details, but then we could have quite a variety of lenses.
Mhm.
And I think the one thing that made it difficult for us was there was too much, what do you call it, spackled light or something? The light wasn't
Oh, dappled.
dappled light. Yeah, so we
Yeah.
need to set up or maybe bring some light modifiers or some background, something so we can
Mhm.
make sure that everyone's shooting with exactly the same lighting
Mhm.
and it's a nice, well lit, even lighting.
Mhm.
This is a project we can kick around. Maybe on the we'll have a chance to meet face to face on the 21st, isn't it?
Yes.
So maybe we can discuss that in a little more detail then.
Catherine, did you find a place to host that?
We come up with a few options. The room adjacent to the patient garden, that doesn't have Wi-Fi. And I'm wondering, would we be able to function without Wi-Fi?
Maybe not.
The answer to that is I have a portable Wi-Fi that we can use if you need to. It's a hotspot. Your phone has a hotspot, but I also have a unit that gives me a hotspot.
Oh.
Hmm.
Well, we should meet up and do a trial run.
But the hotspot wouldn't work if you're inside an area where there is no Wi-Fi.
No, a hot,
No,
what's a cell phone?
it works off the cell phone signal. In other words, if you don't have Wi-Fi, you have Wi-Fi with the hotspot.
Would that work for a computer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe do a trial.
And the bandwidth, if we have 4 or 5 people using computers at the same time, there'd be
Oh.
could be a bandwidth
Were you
issue.
able to look into the libraries and those community rooms, Catherine?
It's a possibility. Yeah, I was wondering, if we wanted to go with the VA, Patient Gardens. The advantage is that it's easy to get to. A lot of people are on campus anyway.
Mhm.
The advantage of the library, I assume they have Wi-Fi. I didn't ask that question, and I would ask
I
that.
would- Oh, I would assume they would. And I
Yeah.
was just thinking also of weather conditions.
Yeah,
Would be more dependable to be inside a library, or maybe somebody thought of calling Tuttle's, or they might have, do they have a room to teach at
No.
Tuttle's?
No, he uses the main showroom floor when he does his
Well, he
inside.
should be able to
Tuttle Club.
shut down his store for us. He's asking too much.
Or do it after hours.
How many people, Catherine, do you think?
we haven't taken a,
Head count?
right now.
That's fine.
I'll just call names and see who wants to be there. The 21st, we don't have a time yet.
But, and just to let you know, I think I'm busy on the 21st. And let me ask my husband, is that the day of the wedding here?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, sorry, I'm up here for a wedding. I know it's the middle of the
Okay.
week.
On Wednesday?
Yeah, I know. Well, she's pregnant, so hurry up.
Okay.
Oops.
Okay, Steve,
Part
you'll be
before the
there.
wedding.
What's the
Yes, I would
function?
be there to help, and I had just had a thought that I was going to suggest to Amy, but she just ruined it. And that is that coffee shop that you and I meet at.
Oh, that would be
That would be
good. That's big enough.
Yeah, it's big enough. It's got Wi-Fi.
Oh,
It's got a lot of plugins. It's not a perfect as far as disturbance goes, but that's never
Yeah.
bothered us.
do we care?
And
Let me-
and
For, as
it's
far as
completely
space and plugins and openness for us to walk around, like a lot of people can be at one round table, and we can walk around helping. Ooh, I think that's a really good idea.
and it's got good coffee.
If you want to see if you could move it maybe to January, because holidays are kind of hard. And it's getting close to Christmas on the 21st. Sorry, Catherine, I just thought of that. I would have thrown that out a long time ago had I thought of it then.
Oh, that's
You
not.
have more than one of these.
Yeah, you could do more than
Yeah.
one. We used to do it every week. Yeah,
I like the idea of the coffee shop too.
you can get a
That
cup
won't
of
be
coffee there.
disruptive to the business.
Yeah,
It's wide open. It's a big place. Brick walls and it's got lots of room.
It's got one large big table that we can all sit around.
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's in Placentia,
Downtown
Oh.
Placentia.
downtown Placentia.
It's all
Yeah.
2 blocks. It's a cute place. It's a really fun place to walk around and photograph too. So it won't be just for one thing that we go for. You can actually get some cute pictures there. Or nice pictures, not cute. Cute's not a good word.
will we have to reserve it?
It depends on, I don't think so if it's under, how many people do you think would be showing up?
If there's like 8 to 10 people, I think it'd be wise for us to talk to them the day
Yeah,
before, and maybe they'd throw a little reserve sign on the table. The
Oh, that's
tables
good.
are, all the other tables are easily moved, so we could actually create a space for people to sit around, or we had 4 tables that are 4 at each table. It doesn't have to be one big thing, but
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. I like that spot, Steve.
We're going to be doing a lot of one-on-one anyhow, but we could I could go in there and ask him about if we could reserve that big table,
Mhm.
which I think you can, at least 6 to 8 people can sit around it easily.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So
Sorry, are you thinking of doing this in the evening at Placentia or the
No,
21st?
probably in the day, probably more like,
Okay, once they establish, I may be able to get a driver. So right now I'm up in the air whether I can get there.
you're in, Kent, are you in Huntington Beach?
I am. Mhm.
All right, maybe we can figure out something.
Okay, well, I'd love to go, but I don't want to be,
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
we got some time to figure that out.
put my heels down for folks, but
I think it's important that before we do this, whether we do one or two of them, that everybody come there with something specific they want addressed and help with,
Mhm.
so that it's not just a turn into chaos and free for all.
If you don't have something specific too, everybody's gonna learn by somebody else's question.
So that's
And
true.
so, but it helps to have something that you really can't figure out that you're struggling with.
Now, with this shoot, are we going to bring, Steve, as you suggested, different lenses?
Not on this one. This is
Not on this
more of
one,
getting
okay.
together at a coffee shop with our computers and
Okay.
our cell phones to try to figure out that kind of stuff.
Okay,
The shoot would be something different. Well, no,
But you are-
okay, I threw that in there. Sorry. You can walk around Placentia and take photographs, but that isn't the
Why we're there.
focus of why we're there. But the drive is worth it if you live far away from Placentia because it's a cute place to walk around, and it has a little bit of the vibe of Old Town Orange. It's not quite as elaborate, but it's got that fun Old Town feel to it.
well, I have to go, but I'm looking forward to this and thank you. And I'll work it out how to get there. We'll be in touch.
Very good, Kent.
Okay.
Thank you for the.
Oh,
meeting.
good day.
Enjoyed it. I'm
Does
running a little
Kent-
bit all the time.
Kent, do you know about the field trip we're gonna be doing on the 14th of December?
I didn't look at it, but I will.
Okay, it's a night, it's gonna be in the evening,
Okay,
and we haven't discussed what restaurant we're gonna meet at.
okay. Well, I'll do my best to be there. I'll read it. My Wi-Fi's been down as usual and all these other things that go on, so I'm catching up. Thanks,
Okay, that's-
everybody. Good to see
That's
you.
the Naples Island Christmas
Mhm.
light walk, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really a beautiful place. I can't go on that one either. But
Okay.
I've shown you pictures of it and it's just stunning. It's just so much fun.
Okay, let me finish getting, who's interested in going on the 21st, and then we'll go to Naples. John, Warhank,
I don't know.
okay. Doug,
A definite no, we'll be out of town.
okay. Anthony,
question mark.
okay. Linda,
Well, you know what? Our numbers are so small. I wouldn't be the subject, I'll tell you that. I go on and ask other people, I mean, if anybody else is showing up or.
I'm
I'll
confused.
be there. I mean, I will show up if there's somebody to help.
I think really like somebody mentioned earlier, we're into the holiday season. And I know I'm gonna have a lot of family coming to town that week and it's the holiday season. That's just my opinion.
The
I
Naples
think
walk,
Amy mentioned January would be,
yeah, the thing
Yeah, I
with Naples walk is you're photographing Christmas lights. And if you've ever been to Naples Island in Long Beach, they've got canals. And then they have the boats going under you, under bridges. They've got the gondoliers singing and, these really romantic looking boats. And the houses are decked out. So you can be up on many bridges and look at these gorgeous lights that these houses have going along the water. So you get the water and the lights. So that needs to be done around Christmas time. But it is difficult for me because I'll be up in Paso too.
We were just
Catherine,
discussing the
are you talking
21st,
about-
weren't we?
Catherine, you're talking about the 21st, aren't you? Where Amy's on the 14th.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah. we
let's
talked the
finish.
21st.
Let me finish and see if we've got interest in the 21st. John
Oh, I'm
Boland,
sorry.
Yeah, I think I can do it. I'm not aware of any conflict.
Alan? No. Larry?
I'm not sure interested in the distance, the weather and things of that nature.
I'm sorry. This is the Placentia one to work on your
Yes.
computer or your phone. It's indoors. On the 21st.
I know, but I have my handicapped scooters on the back of the vehicle and
Got
also the
it.
distance.
Yeah.
8 miles per gallon and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah, got it.
This is
Okay,
Naples last year.
we'll think about that one. We'll put that one tentatively. Let's go to Naples and see who's interested in that. Let me find my page.
I don't see an image. Did you pull up an image of Naples, Doug?
Yeah, I
Doug?
did. I thought,
Oh.
I thought I
Yeah,
was
we didn't
sharing.
see
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry. Okay, you can pull it up. Yeah, go ahead. Oh,
Hmm.
Yeah, that's daytime.
Yeah, that's daytime.
Well,
Mhm.
let me, here we go.
Yeah, they do gondola rides out there too during the year, during the summer.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Yeah. And as the sun gets even darker than, the more twilight time, it's just fantastic. All the reflections on the water and wow. They really go insane, don't they?
Mm. Very nice, very nice. Wow. I got a question for you guys. Are we gonna take a poll on who's on the 14th? I mean,
Yeah,
we're gonna eat.
okay. Steve, Go
right now, my plan is to go along with my assistant, May Grove, and two other assistants, Sadie and Roxy. I figured
Okay.
this is an opportunity that all four of us can do it, make it a family thing, family outing.
okay, are you interested in a restaurant beforehand?
Probably not, because I'm gonna have the dogs with me. But I would probably still come to the restaurant you're at in order to
To meet up.
Eat up,
meet up,
carpool.
establish coordination,
Mm.
carpooling. In this case, I'd probably not come in the Porsche. I'd probably come in the SUV.
Catherine, would you please note that, what car he's driving in?
Okay, yeah, that's important.
Thanks for adding that.
Well, I can carry quite, besides the dogs, I can carry 3 or 4 other people.
Oh, that's
Okay.
good.
Okay, Doug, are you interested in Naples?
Yeah. Yeah, there's one comment I would make though, because of the narrowness of the walkway around the island, I would not recommend tripods.
Oh, yeah. no.
Okay,
Monopods would probably
Monopod.
work.
Monopod.
Yeah,
Monopod.
don't,
okay, and would you be interested in the restaurant? Did you get a chance to look?
probably not.
Okay. Anthony?
Yes. No, not the restaurant though.
Okay, only meeting there.
Enrique's would be a good suggestion.
Say that again?
Enrique's Mexican restaurants close by.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've got Enrique's and Que Pasta. They're both in the same parking lot. Okay, Larry, are you interested?
Yeah, I'm planning to go. And a restaurant, probably so, because it's food.
Okay. And you liked Enrique's best as opposed to Que Pasta?
I don't care, doesn't matter, food's food.
Okay. Linda?
Okay, yes, I am planning to go. Okay. And either one, Enrique's or Que Pasta. Que Pasta might be easier to order something from there.
John Warhank?
No,
No?
no,
I'm sorry, yes or no?
no.
Okay. John Boland?
Yes,
Okay,
but not restaurant.
okay. Alan?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted, Alan.
Yes, and yes to the restaurant.
Okay. Any preference?
Nope. Doesn't matter.
Okay,
Can I change my mind?
No.
yeah,
I'll do the restaurant too.
okay.
No,
Okay.
you can't change your mind. You wrote it down in pencil.
I'd like to add to what Doug said about tripods. For several of you have new cameras and the new sensors and stuff, you can shoot at much higher ISO than you used to in the past. So that helps eliminate the need for the tripod. And the other thing, you can always look for something to lean against or whatever to stabilize your camera. I've even used other people's shoulders. And if we're walking together, we could take turns, let me stabilize my camera with your shoulder and then you can take a shot. And
May is just the right height to use her head.
I forgot, yeah, I'm gonna have May with
Still
me.
May.
There is an extensive railing system around the walkway, so it's
Rails
very,
everywhere.
very close to
Yes.
where
Yeah.
you'll be taking.
And then over the bridges, they've got, rails there that you can rest your camera on.
Yeah, I've used iron railings amazingly at night photography and it's worked out really well. And also, I don't know how these railings are. I haven't been there, but now I'm intrigued if they're lower, that helps you get a different perspective rather than standing up, changing the perspective.
They're about hip high,
Oh, I think that's
just enough to keep you from jumping into the canal, easily falling into the canal, excuse me,
easily falling, yeah.
Yeah.
pirating a Duffy boat through the channel.
Maybe one year we have to do that. That would be a fun group.
Oh, that'd be a fun thing. Or the
We
gondola.
need to organize that in like September to get the Duffy boat reservation.
Yeah.
But that would be really fun.
Now,
Catherine, can you look into that next September?
yeah. On December 10th is the boat parade around Long Beach.
Yeah.
Los
Oh my
Alamitos
God.
Harbor, 7
Parking,
o'clock.
parking is awful. And the boat fumes are just gagging.
Yeah.
You can go if you want.
You really
I've
sold it,
got
Amy.
a sticker, a boat owner sticker that I can get into the boat owner's parking area.
Oh, wow.
Wow, wow. Okay.
21% chance of rain, 49-degree temperatures.
On the 14th?
That's what it says, yes.
Yeah, so wear a nice neck scarf.
Bring your rain gear.
Gonna be cold.
And sunset is at 4:45.
Yeah, it's at noon.
Wow, wow.
But that makes for interesting photography.
Mhm.
Yes, I can
Yeah.
tell you right now, even if it rains, you can get some really interesting shots.
Oh, yeah.
I spent 4 days
Roof.
shooting in the rain in
That's
Tasmania.
what you bring your assistant to hold the umbrella for you
Yeah.
too.
There's your reflections in the puddles.
And you don't need to take Amy's spray bottle either.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. If you guys have 5 minutes, I can show you that video, the thank you to Linda.
Oh, yeah, that was really nice. Beautifully done. And I sent you what she said, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So she was very happy about it.
Yeah, she was really pleased.
Okay, are you open to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Just don't fall out of your chair.
Okay, let's see.
No, you're already in.
You're already in the Zoom.
wait,
You're
wait,
on it now.
I'm clicking on the wrong things. I'm already in. Here we go. Let's go back here. Wrong email. That's why. Okay. So we sent her the email and along with the link. Also, I sent her the pictures too,
Mhm.
with it, and I put everybody's name on their pictures.
Nice.
Oh, can you hear it?
No.
Okay, let's start. Stop for a second. I want to share screen. Okay,
Back to Zoom.
yeah, let's go back to Zoom.
Need to enable sound.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
okay, let's go
you
back.
Click on the pause right there.
I can't get back to Zoom. Okay, come on up. There we go. Zoom, zoom, zoom. There we go. Not that. Get back to Zoom. Here we go. Picture. Is that going to enlarge? Oh, geez. Oh, here we go. Let's stop share. Stop share, start over. There we go. There you guys are. Okay, let's do it again.
Just click on the video volume.
Share sound. There's that little
Okay.
bitty box down there. Okay, there we go. And then do that and then come back. Okay, can you see my screen now?
No,
No.
Oh. Jesus.